We are live. It's another great day. It's Cribble TV. This is Ed Bailey. So happy to be here today. We're having lots of fun. We are talking about something brand new, and we have a very special guest. We have Nikhil. He is the owner, the mastermind, the brain behind Cribl Copilot. And we are just, it's something that a feature that I don't think gets enough love. And so we're going to start talking a little bit about Cribl Copilot, what it can do, what it means, and we're also going to have a couple quick demos. Nikhil, you want to share? So tell us, just talk about your role and how did Copilot get started?
Hey Ed, thank you. Yeah, appreciate that. Hey everyone, I'm Nikhil, and yeah, so Cribl. So what I do at Cribl is I run engineering and product for Cribl Copilot and Cribl AI, and Cribl Copilot is sort of like the first AI product that we launched roughly about 9 months ago, back in June of 2024. And it started off as a little widget that used to be on the bottom right, where you could ask it questions about how to use this product and how do I do a certain thing in Cribl Stream or in Cribl Search, and then it sort of like tells you what to do and how to do it. And then over time, what we did is we integrated Copilot sort of like more deeply into the Cribl Suite. So right now, Copilot is capable of helping you with your data transformations in Cribl Stream. So you can it recommend event breakers to use. It can recommend use it to create pipelines for transforming data and those sort of things. And then also on the search side, it will enable you to visualize your data automatically. It can recommend what sort of things you should be looking at based on your data. So yeah, there's a really wide spectrum of things that it does today. And then we also have a pretty exciting roadmap for the next a couple of quarters, and we're going to be launching a lot more of these features.
That's very cool. So hey, let's get the 24-ton elephant that's in the room. Let's talk about AI. Let's talk about the magic of AI and how at least I feel that this is a much more productive, much more helpful use of AI than here's the magic spot. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I mean, LLMs have been, a fascinating technological development that we have all got to witness in the last 2 or 3 years, and I've been doing this sort of things for like many years now, and this just simplifies so many things, from when it comes to productizing something. Formerly you used to need like teams and teams upon of PhDs sort of helping you build out these systems, and now LLMs can short circuit a lot of that, and just create that sort of intelligence workflow natively inside your product. And the way we have been thinking about this at Cribl here is our human operators are sort of like front and center. So everything that we do is in service of our users. It's in service of our IT admins. And what Copilot aims to do is just it attempts to take away sort of like the grunt work away from your job, right? And like leave you with like the exciting thing that you can do. So it's extremely human in the loop. It's sort of like human front and center, and really Copilot or LLM-based technologies help you with some of those tasks. So if you give it a bunch of events, say for example, it can help you identify those regular expressions, or help you create those regular expressions that you need to extract certain fields, or redact certain data and those sort of things. So
I mean, who's bad at regex? That would be me. And so I mean, having something that helps make regex better, you can't beat that.
yeah.
And I think that's key. I mean, I think one of the Cribl's real superpower is ease of use, and I think this is a great way to use an emerging technology to make something easier to use, especially show you how to do something better. Be able to just take as you said, take the grunt work out. So that's super awesome. So do you want to start with the demo?
Yeah, absolutely. I can show a little demo of how do you engage with Copilot and what it can do for you. So let's see. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, sure can. Here, let me add it into the stage. There we go.
Oops, there we go. All right. So this is Cribl Stream. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show folks how to engage Copilot here. So if you pop open Copilot on this, by clicking this floating action button over here, you see, and you can ask it questions. It can also, it's intelligent enough to recommend things that you're on. So if you go on Edge, it'll sort of like tell you its specific questions that you should be asking. And again, this feature continues to get better. So on worker groups, it's about sort of like worker groups and those sort of things.
So one question: so is Copilot available for the self-installed version of Cribl and cloud, or is it just cloud only?
Indeed, it is. Yeah, so you can enable Copilot on-prem as well. So if you have downloaded Cribl and you have your own Cribl installation, you can absolutely take advantage of this feature.
Is it on by default?
It is not on by default. So the way the approach that we have taken with AI as a whole at Cribl is it's always going to be opt-in. So everything is off by default. We're not in the business of capturing your data or your telemetry and training models. In fact, we don't train any models right now at Cribl. So you have to specifically go into settings, and maybe that's a good way for us to start off here. Is you go into settings, and then you enable it over here. I have already enabled it on this instance, but if you haven't enabled it, this is where you would go, and this is where you would turn it on.
I think that's very important. I don't think we want to feel our users have been trapped or they haven't been able to make their own choice about AI. So, I mean, that's a great idea. One more question that
Yeah.
I think is really key. And you alluded to it a little bit. So, say I put my requirements and I put a data sample in a Copilot. Is that data going to train the LLM that someone else could potentially see?
No, that data is passed through an LLM inference API. So we will take that data and take whatever you type in this little prompt box, and we have to kind of in order to use AI and in order to use sort of like provide these AI capabilities, we have to take the contents of whatever you type in this prompt box, as well as the data that you're operating on, and we pass it through an LLM engine. But we don't store that data, and we don't use that data for training anything, and neither do our LLM providers. So we have agreements with the sort of like the AI providers that we use under the hood, and this data is not used for any sort of training. In some cases, they will hold on to this data for audit purposes for like a week or two, but then it gets aged out, and it's definitely not used for training.
Okay, because a lot of our users have very concerns about the idea of data exfil, leaking data. So I mean, I think that's a great way to answer it. So sorry to go into all that, but please go ahead and like show off the UI, the Copilot UI.
Yeah, so this is, again, this is sort of like, useful for asking, open format questions like, hey, how do I upgrade X to the latest version? And, this will, take and this will, show you everything that you need to do over here. And then this is like a really handy add-on. And, this is based on our excellent documentation that we already have in the product. And I should, speaking of documentation, I'd also note that, if you don't have a Cribl instance running, or you don't have AI enabled in your Cribl instance for some reason, you can just go into our docs website and use the same exact thing over here without even logging in or without even doing anything. So if you're sort of like worried about how do I, enable AI, or I need to like talk to somebody to get that permission figured out, well, you don't really need to do that.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So this is, again, a free format, sort of like get your questions answered here kind of a mode. But let's do something more interesting, if you don't mind, Ed.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see something fun.
Let's see something fun. All right, cool. So out here, I'm going to go into one of my worker groups, and I am going to say I want to do something with pipelines, which is a extremely powerful feature that you use in Cribl to transform data that is in flight. So Cribl pipelines are used for processing data, terabytes upon terabytes of data every single day for many of our customers. So this is a battle-tested engine that is capable of doing all kinds of things with data. So what I'm going to do here is, first off, most people will start off by, well, I have a sample of data that I want to operate on, and I'll typically capture that either in a source, or sometimes I'll just use this easy import button here. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm going to do. So I have I have some fake Palo Alto threat logs that I pulled together earlier, and what I do is I'm just going to paste those Palo Alto firewall logs over here, and then instead of figuring out all of this stuff by yourself, you can just press this easy button over here, auto configure using Copilot. And what this is going to do is it's going to come back with a couple of recommendations. And in this case, it says Palo Alto. So Cribl Copilot confidence score 10 indicates the highest level of confidence. So it was able to infer that these logs are Palo Alto threat logs, and they are not Cisco logs. So it says 0 for Cisco ASA. Maybe it shouldn't even return that. So I'm just going to click on that. And then, I've now these logs are configured with the Palo Alto threat event breaker, and which is, I feel, like a really cool thing, right? So if you're quickly running through a lot of data, and you have some, if you have some data that you want to process, you can just stick it in here and just click auto configure using Copilot, and it'll figure out
That's
all
awesome.
the
So
stuff.
you can auto basically have this do your event breaking configs for you.
That's exactly right.
And by the way, for anyone who's using Stream who might be listening, it's really important. Make sure you have custom event breakers.
That's right. Event breakers are a very important part of processing data.
Yes, big deal. So you use the tools to make it easy.
Right. Cool. So we have these logs here now in our sample view, and so the next thing that I'm going to do is I want to process these logs. And again, you'll see these absurdly fake logs over here with credit card information and people's social security numbers in here that I've put just for fun. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a pipeline with Cribl Copilot here, and then it asks me, okay, what do you want to do? So I'm going to say Palo Alto threat logs. Let me save this pipeline, and then this gives you like a few options that you can do. But really, what you can do is you can just express yourself in natural language, and say, I want to let's say I want to extract IP addresses into their own field. Extract IP addresses into their own field. Then you press send. And then what this does is it goes ahead and it creates this pipeline. So let's save it and see what comes off it. All right. So for some events, it sort of pulled out the destination IP and the source IP. I guess it did not do it for these events. So let's look into that in a moment. But this is kind of how it works, and then obviously we can do a lot more things to it. We can add more functions, etc. I just wanted to take a quick pause and see whether what do you think of this?
Yeah, this is great. I mean, this is such a great start.
Yeah, and then something fun that I like to do here is also just add another function with Copilot, and then you can just make it make this data GDPR compliant, and then let's see what it does.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, so it pulled out a bunch of regular expressions here again, and then is using the c.master redacted expression.
And just to remind anyone that you can then use the UI to validate that these regex are correct as well.
That's right. Yeah, you can absolutely.
Always trust but verify with your LLMs.
100%. That's always a good. Strategy.
Yeah, but this is cool. I mean, in a few clicks, you've now got yourself half of a pipeline.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So you have it sort of just accelerates your workflow, and then again, it's as an admin of the system or as a user of the system, you want to verify everything. You can use it as a starting point. You can also just add functions by yourself, right? By using a more deterministic way over here, or you can just add a function with Copilot. But in this case, you see that SSNs have been redacted and credit card numbers have been redacted.
That's nice. And that's such a great feature. Could you do me a favor also and show anyone who's watching how they can go over to the left-hand side and then show the UI that they can show how data is being masked?
Yes.
Yeah, go down under the regex range where you can see where you can then test your expressions.
I'm sorry, where do you want me to click?
Yeah, so you see a little edit button that's to the right of the enable.
Oh yeah.
Yes, and this is a real good place because you can match an event and you can really clearly see and also see what the regex looks like as well.
This is what I was trying to pop open earlier.
Yeah, and this is key, especially if this is something that anyone who's a stream owner, you want to start offloading tasks to your junior engineers as soon as possible. And this is a great way where you can step someone who's not necessarily an expert in regex and validate it, because does this look right? Is this working? Because you can clearly see, especially in the output, that it's working exactly as designed.
Yeah, and then if you look at a couple of these other, so we already looked at that one. This was a credit card regular expression here, and then the third one is a email.
How cool is that?
regex.
I would have given teeth for this when I was admitting certain systems a few years ago.
Uh, and then you obviously just save the pipeline, and then that gets you like a good starting point.
Right.
And then you can iterate on this. You can use our quick connect interface to send it to the right destination and those sort of things.
And also this works. So for example, if I'm building a pack, I can still use this same workflow to build a pipeline out of pack.
Yes, you can. You can use these pipelines inside your packs. And something pretty exciting that we're actually working on the engineering team is to make the process of creating packs a lot easier than it is today. So stay tuned for updates. I think that we're going to do this every now and then. So I would love to share once we have something on that front. But for now, yes, you can absolutely use this. And another,
so our more frequent listeners are used to hearing my tirades about using packs, and then especially that sources and destinations are getting added to packs, which is like dirty nerd talk. That's great.
Yeah. You can also, if you have existing pipelines, you can also click this handy button to generate a description of, what the pipeline does, which is this pipeline extracts source and destination IP addresses.
Oh, that's cool.
And then masks it. So then this gets saved into pipelines. And this is also useful if you're, just looking at, somebody else's pipelines over here, which is, let's look at this Cribl metrics rollup pipeline. Gosh, what does this even do? I wonder. So look at that. So, rolling up all metrics to a 30-second time window and adjusting the value field. So it creates sort of like a little human readable description here
Nice.
that, assists. The whole goal here is to, make the job of admins easier and, help them out. So, and if you look at that again, if you go into the pipeline again, we'll just save the pipeline description here. And you can obviously edit the description here if you feel like you wanted to add more details to it.
Very cool. So could I use Copilot to check my pipeline configs for is it well written? Is it efficient?
Not yet, but that is a capability that is coming pretty soon. So what we want to do is we want to, add a feature that you can use to engage Copilot and ask it is like, hey, tell me about what this pipeline is doing. Am I using all the things optimally in here? Are there any recommendations do you have to sort of make it a little better or make it a little faster?
Yeah,
So,
for anyone who's watching, especially, and also don't be afraid to ask questions now. We'll answer them live. But get in touch with the community. But let us know what you want to see. Because I mean, for example, like tell me if my regex is right. Tell me if my pipeline, if I've made a mistake in my pipeline. Tell me if I should reorder something.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, all those sort of optimization features are something that we would love to engage with the community and use help in sort of designing and validating some of these features that we have on our roadmap.
Yeah, well, they're going to be seeing a lot of you, so we're going to keep this up because I think this is a great way, and I think it's a great demo. So do you have another demo you want to show off?
On the pipelines front, this is all we have right now. This is the capability.
But I'm just thinking about for Copilot. So is there another question that we could ask Copilot?
Yes, we can ask. So we have a generate KQL, but I don't want to like switch gears into search right now.
Yeah, let's save that for another day.
Yeah, maybe you should save search for another day. But yeah, do you have some use cases in your top of mind for you, Ed, that we can?
Well, so I mean, the first one I'd look at is just I think also like for example, how do I upgrade Stream? I think that would be another good one.
Yeah.
How do I connect Stream with Lake? I think those are all common questions that I see quite a bit.
Let's see.
Another good one, and this is something I see quite a bit, is it's really easy to make a mistake with your partitioning expressions for S3. So I think that'd be another one is, can Copilot make that or show an example of how it should be?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I would love to try that out as well. So it's asking you to use Cribl Edge as well, which is I love that. I love to see that. But then you receive your data in Cribl Stream, and then you send it to Cribl Date by creating a lake destination. And something else that is again on the roadmap here is to make some of these instructions clickable. So right now, it just like tells you how to do it, and if you click on it, it will open it up in like a docs link here. So this is all sort of like valid documentation that we are referencing. It's not made up stuff, because one of the common concerns that we heard, sort of like in the first version of Copilot that we launched, was like none of these were links, and people were like, "Well, is this? How do I know whether it's accurate, or how can I sort of like validate that?" So you were sort of like taking some of this stuff and just putting it in Google search or something. So now most of this stuff is just hyperlinked, and then you can go into docs and sort of
Yeah, that's ideal.
yeah. So it's just another way to simplify getting the information that you need to get in order to do your task in front of you. What's your question about partition expressions?
Yeah, so like how do I create or verify my partition expression?
Lake
Or S3.
or S3? Just S3.
Yeah, because Lake's going to handle the partitioning for you.
That's right.
And just this is an example why this is so important is a an ill-defined partitioning expression can create file handle, it can create cardinality problems with S3, and it can create some just very tough to troubleshoot issues. And so this is a great way to get guidance.
Yeah, exactly. So it helps you over here, and then you can also ask it for specific things. I want to partition my Vercel or my web access logs by day. Okay, I'm just making something up here.
There you go.
And it'll remember sort of like the stuff that it has here, and then yeah, so it uses date now over here,
Yep.
and it just helps you with that.
Exactly. And this is and so is there anything especially, so this is something that when people write data to S3 sometimes they have trouble with, how do I add enough data in order to make replay work well? So can I ask example there, or could I, for example, could I have like, hey, help me set up S3 replay,
Yeah.
for a data source?
How do I set up S3 replay?
Because this would be another, if we don't have this feature already, where you go to S3 and you said, help me with a replay, and help walk, essentially a guided walkthrough of replay. If for anyone who's not aware, so replay is a great example. Love replay. Gives you a visual browser to go in your object storage, find a chunk of data. Say I want from 9 to 10 a.m. yesterday, and then I can run a filter expression in that data set from 9 to 10 a.m. to look for particular data. And then hit button, and it's going to take that data and it's going to put it back into Splunk, Elastic, search, whatever. So it makes your data portable, and it's super easy.
That's amazing. Yeah, I don't think I've had a chance to use replay, but I know what I'm going to do after this.
Yeah, definitely, and it's a hugely important function, especially as we talk about our data tiering strategy. So it's a good thing. So one thing I want to ask also is Copilot tied into community at all? Because I see you have a link there for community.
No, this is just our how you engage with the existing community.
Okay. Nice.
But if you are on Slack, if you're on the community Slack, there is a way for you to engage Copilot and ask questions there as well. Let me see if I can if I have that set up here, and I can show you how to do that real quick.
I think that's pretty cool, especially it uses a way to. I mean, I'm hoping, and as people ask questions, we're tracking that.
So here, sorry, I'm going to stop sharing and then share my Slack screen real quick. It's a good reminder. Yeah, there you go. So
Yes.
let me share my. There you go. Can you see my Slack?
I cannot. Oh, there it is. Oh, 1 second. There we go.
There we go. Can you see it?
Yep.
Yeah. Perfect. So, this is, again, our community Slack, which is, a really powerful resource for getting answers. And out here, what you can do is you can just DM Cribl Copilot. So Cribl Copilot is an app. And you start chatting with it. And I just asked it right now, how do I use replay? And then it'll just tell you something over here. But help me create a regex for finding CCMP. first. So you can ask it like simple things. You can ask it more complex documentation related things, and it
That's
will
awesome.
thread every.
And remember, we can do this, and so you can ask the same sort of question in stream, right?
You can ask the same sort of question in stream. You can ask it on our Docs website. You can ask it in Slack, and it's all connected to the
Yeah.
same sort of like brain in the back end. So you'll always get high quality answers.
And that's amazing. I can't tell you how much time I've spent on Regex 101 bashing my head into my laptop trying to figure this out. And so having this, like, you can't beat that.
Yeah, 100%. And then remember to rate these answers so Copilot can sort of continue getting better. Especially if you see something that is not accurate, then I'd be really curious to know from you.
That is really, really cool. Well, Nikhil, we're coming to time. So anything you want to let our users know as we wrap up?
Yeah, as I said, Cribl Copilot is an intelligence add-on. So what it aims to do is to sort of like shift some of the tasks or some of the grunt work from what you're trying to do with your task away from you into the system. So we have a lot more features coming along the same line of thinking. If you have more ideas, I'm on the community Slack channel. You can throw it in the feature request channel that we have, where you can just feel free to slide in my DMs as well. Happy to I love engaging with the community and sort of taking these ideas and implementing them in a way that makes sense. We have also put in a lot of work when it comes to guaranteeing the accuracy of the pipelines and the regular expressions and like the search KQL that is being generated. So yeah, would love to hear more about that.
Well, and so this coming Friday, Nikhil and I are going to do this again. We're going to show off a couple of new demos, and I'm hoping we'll have some questions. So please have your questions ready. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Twitter/X, we're also on YouTube Live, and so we really want to hear everyone's questions, and we're going to take the time to answer them all. And again, reach out on Slack if you have questions or if you want to meet, because I think Nikhil's really open to feedback, because how can we help make your experience with Cribl tools even easier? But I really appreciate being here today, as this was really a lot of fun, and I'm just so glad you got a chance to show off Copilot.
Thank you for having me, Ed, and thank you everyone.
Yeah, thank you for coming by. I really appreciate it. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.